So my dad and I were talking this morning about parents want to instill a lot of things in their children, right? So what's the one thing you feel is the most important thing to instill in your child? You're talking about, like, what's the one thing that you could teach a child that will get them through every aspect of life, right? And my family works the same way. The most important thing I feel to pass on to a child is heart, right? You guys have heard me say, I wasn't always the nicest person. I was angry, very, very angry. I love my anger. And depressed and a bunch of other things. But my dad, he said, yeah, but you still had heart. I still made the compassionate choices. And that's the thing. We were talking about, right? Kindness and heart. Having heart is what's going to get you through any kind of obstacle you're going to face in life. And why it's so important to teach kids empathy and compassion, consideration, all the big things that come from the heart, right? And there are plenty of times I've helped people, and sometimes I help longer than other people would like. I can already see that that's like toxic and that's a waste of time. That's not a waste of time to me. It's not a waste of time to the person I'm helping. And maybe I ultimately won't help them. Maybe I end up sort of not pacifying, but what is that when, what's that called? Enabling. Maybe I'm more enabling at this moment, but it has an effect. It's like a seed that's planted. And so there may be at some point in that person's life where they finally have like that aha moment and then they can appreciate it. But regardless, it's always nice to show kindness. And just because you show kindness doesn't mean that you're full, doesn't mean that, you're being oblivious to, let's say, being used or something. But, there's that whole like 1 strike, 2 strikes, first time, shame on you, second time, shame on me. Shouldn't really be a third time. And that's the thing. You do have to have those kind of boundaries, right? So I had someone ask me a long time ago, if someone screws up in a relationship, do you end the relationship right away? Where I'm very much, if you mess up, if there's something, if you have these lines drawn and you say, these are my boundaries, right? And someone steps over that first time, hey, by the way, really don't appreciate that. You kind of hurt my feelings. I thought we had an understanding. So let's sit down and rehash so you know that I'm serious about this, at this thing. I don't have a lot of lines in the sand, right? Second time, you can still offer kindness. Third time, no. If there's a third time, if it happens after the second time, if there's a third time, that's it for me. And I was told that that's too harsh. Right? That's too harsh. And that's individual per person. That depends on the person. I'm very good at feeling people and what their intentions are, but I will still always show kindness. For as shitty as a person or as hard as I was to be around in my youth, according to, my family, that's their opinion. They had to raise me, so I get it. They spent a lot of time with me, but I was still kind. I would still always giving. Always giving and always being kind regardless, because that's, you want love, you put love out. You want respect, you put respect out. You want integrity, then you have to have integrity. You have to possess them. And if you don't know how to possess them, then for yourself, then you need to do them for other people, and they will find you. And that's beautiful and amazing. But I think that heart is the most important thing, because I could live under a bridge and be just as happy. I would say I could live in a mansion and be just happy, but that would just annoy the crap out of me. I'm not I don't hoard square footage. I don't hoard material things. Not who I am. My kids and I will save leaves and rocks like nobody's business. Sometimes we've gotten better about like not having to save everything, every little thing we find out in nature. But if they have heart, if they understand their heart and they have heart, if you have heart, you will weather you'll weather anything life can throw at you. And I don't believe life throws things at you. I believe you find your own situations. Most assuredly, you find your own situations. The other one I don't understand is, obviously because I'm not this type of person, I don't understand people who buy into the, not doomsday preppers, and not necessarily, a lot of people live in fear. They live in a constant state of fear. They're afraid that we're headed towards martial law or government overreach or half a dozen I can list 80 million things to be fearful of, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. And I tell these people, no, that's just the way you're choosing to buy into that, but that doesn't make it real. I don't think we're headed that way. I honestly don't believe that we're headed that way. I don't, our schools around here, because of the school shootings, are public schools. It made me nervous when they they sent out this email that said that from now on, after 8 o'clock, there's only one entry into the school, and at that entry, you have to hit a buzzer, show your ID, and then you can get into the school after 8 o'clock in the morning. No more just walk in and, oh my God, they forgot their homework and stuff like that, and on the cameras and watch the kids. And I get that it's for their safety, right? I mean, that can go one of two ways, just like GPS tracking. Yes, they can track you, and yes, they can suck up all your metadata. But at the same time, you get lost in a swamp in Florida. Well, guess what? They'll be able to find you with the same stuff, and it's always going to be like that. But we have a tendency to focus on the things that we fear, And by focusing on them, you create them. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. My grandpa hated hospitals. Grandpa Fred hated hospitals. Hated them. Did not like doctors, so he avoided them until that's where he ended up, months at a time. You want to go to the hospital, where'd he go? Where'd he end up? In the hospital, because he wouldn't go for general care and upkeep. So he created his own circle. He ended up in the situation he created. He feared it so much, it's all he thought about until it manifested itself. That's how that works. It's just like when you buy a car. You buy a car, and then suddenly you see them everywhere. And you're like, what the hell? I never saw these things before. Oh, no, they were there, but because you're paying attention now, because you happen to be driving one, now you see them. Now they are everywhere. It's everything is kind of like that. And it's amazing how much it matters what you put your attention on. The thing I want to teach my kids, Gabe may not always be the nicest. He's still learning. He's 6. But he has a big heart. He has compassion. He does care when somebody else is hurt. He does care about trying to keep things even. The other side of him, he's 6, so the other side of him is, I'm the center of the universe, I'm so awesome, everybody should want to play what I want to play, exactly how I want to play it and when I play it. I haven't quite been able to get him to understand yet that it doesn't work that way. Like, if you want to have friends, sometimes you have to do what your friend wants to do. And he's like, he needs friends. I need to put him in taekwondo or soccer. Those are 2 things he's mentioned. But he has the heart. All my children have heart. And that heart is going to be what gets them through. For as messed up as, for all of the emotional turmoil I put myself through, it is my heart that has kept that balance. It is my heart that jumps in and says, yeah, there are times I wish I could swear like I had Tourette's and say like the meanest things to people, just put them in their place and be like, there, blah, I just words spewed all over you, and like run away. But then, my heart jumps in and goes like that. That's not nice. Do you want people to treat you that way? And I'm surprised at how many people don't know to have empathy. They don't know how to show empathy. How many of my friends have had to go like, well, how would you feel if it was the other way around? How would you want to be treated if you flip-flop, if you Freaky Friday'd into the other person's body and you switched positions? Why do you think that you should be treated better than you're treating other people? You know, the empathy. Empathy is the thing that kicks in and goes like, ugh. You know, it's the thing that allows me to look at somebody and go like, yeah, I can see how somebody is invested in whatever they're invested in that may not be the best thing for them. I don't know. I think that's the most important thing you could teach them. Everything else, I think that there's a huge epidemic of the heart right now, especially, I don't know about other countries, but especially on U.S. soil. I think that we have not done enough with our emotional intelligence. We haven't done enough. We're not doing enough in school. Gabe, I'm really proud of Gabe. I've been teaching Gabe how to, when he goes to bed at night, and he's always, I'm not tired. He's a night person like I am. You know, I've taught him to take 3 breaths. Breathe in real slow, and each breath we make a little bit deeper, and by the 3rd breath he's yawning, and it's like, why does that make me tired? And I've told him that when you get angry and when you do these things, to take a breath. Take a minute, take a breath. You know, and I've been trying to teach him that since he was little, but I don't always know if he's paying attention all the time. He does it with me, but he's starting to apply it on his own. He came home last week and he said, Mom, I'm not getting in trouble much as much at school, and you want to know why? And I said, why? He said, because I'm breathing. When I get angry, I stop and I breathe. You know, and I wanted to do cartwheels. I was driving the car at the time, but I wanted to do cartwheels. Like, yes, he is listening, and he did apply it, and I think that that's awesome. Because kids are assholes generally. They don't mean to be, right? But they're all just still trying to figure out and navigate and negotiate one another. They can be absolute jerks without meaning to. But I'm really proud of him. I'm really proud of him for doing that. It's going to be hugely important with him because he has such a... He really does. He loves old people, but he just believes everybody is his friend. You know, everybody should be interested in his life. And I mean to stop this, but I have to pay attention at the moment because the car line's pulling forward. But what do you think is the best thing that you can teach a kid? What is the thing that you tried to instill in your children? What's the one thing you hope would stick when it came to raising your children? Because you can't get it 100% right. That's impossible. Nobody can raise a kid 100% right. You're going to screw up somewhere. Like my parents let me know, you can't do perfect. You're going to mess up. You're going to mess up somewhere. And you have all these people going like, oh, this is my parents. Oh, it's my family. Oh, it's the way I raised. There's like a big push on that for a while. You know, oh, it's everybody else's fault but my own. It's amazing what accountability will do, though. How much it heals. Emotionally, mentally, physically, how much it affects and changes. I still feel like me. I've always strived to feel like myself at about 9 to 10 years old. You know, I was very outgoing, very happy, loved being outside. And I have strived continually to have integrity and get back to that. And I don't remember so much all the awful crap in the middle, or what Vicky calls self-centered. And I'm still working. I'm working on that post. I actually have most of it written, and when I get home, I'll have to type it out. I have it written on my phone, but I've got to sit and actually type it out. And so I'm getting there. I'm doing that. My stomach talks a lot. That's what the gurgling is. And if you ever hear, it has not been happy. But on a little side note, I was 90 pounds 2.5 weeks ago, just falling below 90 pounds. And this is why I haven't been around much, because I'm making sure that I eat at least 4 decent-sized meals a day. I don't generally eat. I eat maybe 1 meal a day. I don't require a lot of food. But I've been really kind of pounding it in to try to get the weight on, and then I can slow back down and find a better balance. But I'm at 98 in the last 2.5 weeks. I have put on 7 pounds, 8 pounds. I'm at 98 pounds right now, and I really want to be 110 pounds. I've only broken 100 pounds once in my life, and that was after I gave birth to Isabel and Nathan. I was able to maintain 110 up until the time that I had Gabe. 95 is kind of average for me, but 98 pounds. So that makes me happy. I'd like to, not see my ribs when I breathe. I realize I live in probably the fattest nation in the world. We're an overweight nation, and I have the opposite problem. I am underweight. I'm always underweight. I am great for showing Gabe where his skeleton is. We've, this could be double as a bird bath. I have this collarbone, so I get to show him, there's the bones, and let's count mommy's ribs, and look at my spine. He finds it absolutely fascinating, but I'd like to not necessarily be the human case study for too thin. That's sad. Yeah. What do you teach your kids? What do you hope your kids know? What was important? What was the most important thing? Isabel and Nathan and I instilled a strong sense of independence. Do what makes you happy. I don't care if you end up being a cat lady on the dead end with 12 cats. If you want to be a beach bum and play your guitar, whatever makes you happy, find your happy. Find the things that make you happy.